to Me Time Artistry. My name is Rod, and what Me Time Artistry is, it's a community of people that have come together to share what they do for Me Time Artistry. And it could be anything from painting to singing to dancing to, in this case, creative writing. We had a nice chat with Kelly last night. She won the auction for my previous painting that I finished a couple weeks ago, and you'll learn a lot of interesting things about Kelly. She lives in Bedford, Massachusetts, all the way on the East Coast. So shout out to you guys on the East Coast. I'm going to get back to painting. You guys enjoy the video and join Me Time Artistry. Love you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. How are you, Kelly?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good, and I'm also with Miss Rachael. Kelly won the auction from last week, and I see my baby in the background.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I love all those pictures in the background, Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
I love, you have such an artistic flair to you. You're very creative, you could tell.
Yeah, I love photography. I can't do this, but I love photography. So
yeah.
Really? Yeah. Is that your me time, would you say?
Photography and creative writing. I love to creative write as well.
Really?
That's awesome.
I can't journal. I have a problem writing things down that I could or someone else could go back and read later. Because if it happened and I didn't like it, I don't want to relive it. So I do creative writing instead. So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you do creative, like fiction or?
Yeah, I've done fiction, nonfiction. I've done short stories. I actually have a fan fiction novel that I've been writing for a few years.
Well, that's awesome.
Really?
Poetry. Yeah, I have a lot. I've got quite a bit. Yeah.
I'm like fascinated. Where can we see something like that?
You know those kinds of things. I can send you a couple of samples of some of my better ones that I have.
Oh, I would be honored.
Yeah.
What
because
a
lot of them are the same kinds of feelings. You know, it was when I was kind of going through similar situations where either I was having problems with my eating or just my other mental health issues, and that's what the writing really helps me get through. And once I can get through that point, that's when I'll go out and I'll do the photography once I'm in a better place. So, you know, the two of them together seem to be the best way of working it for me. So
that's awesome.
Wow.
How did you hear of Rachel's recovery story? Curiosity.
I think that I may have just been going through one day, and someone that I was friends with maybe had been on there, or it was one of the things where Facebook just kind of gave me an option and said, "Oh, this might be something you're interested in." Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say, I'm trying to think, how long have you been on here?
Oh man, we've been gone.
It would be next to close to 5.
About 5 years.
4 to 5 years.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah. So it actually might have brought it up because I'm just 3 years now from when I had my gastric bypass. So it's so, and I was very very vocal at that point in time because I felt that when you have an eating disorder like anorexia or bulimia, which I did have years and years ago when I was very young, the mental part of it is very well known. But when you're on the opposite end of it, where I had kind of swung to, and I was in the obese portion of it, they sort of forget about the mental part of it. And at that point, they're blaming it on you, and they're saying it's you. And it took me a while to find a doctor who insisted that I go to see someone for my mental health as well. And I was kind of going through a lot of the different pages and accounts where people were talking about mental health, and I think that's where I found it. The eating disorder or mental health was one of those things that I was looking up because I was just looking for some support on both ends of it, as far as, and hoping that I could also be a support for someone once I really got those techniques down.
Kelly, you bring up such a good point, because that's one of the things that I've been trying to really perpetuate this movement. It's not about anorexia. It's like you can spit and hit someone with an eating disorder.
Right.
And it's not about the skinny. People on the other end, people who are normal, people who are obese, people who are just a little bit heavy. Are you telling me, like, this is what I don't get, and this is what I just like to push through, is their head could be just as dark as mine. It's just not exhibited. And that's such a problem in the medical field, because of the blaming, the shaming, the judgment, that this is it's just your eating. You need to lose weight. You need to do that. It's like, geez, people, if you don't know by now, this is medical. Because I mean, look at when I would go to doctors, they're the ones who are the most typically out of shape, because they have so much stress. They're smoking outside. They're not eating right. I mean, those poor people are having a problem.
Yeah.
And they're not understanding that these things are not, they're manifesting from a psychological, mental place. They're just physical manifestations. I mean, it's just, I'm so grateful that there was a doctor who saw your pain. And that shouldn't be the exception. That should be the rule.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that you had to go to 10 different doctors to finally be like, dude, please talk to me in words that make sense, because you're not hearing me at all. You know, and I'm just so grateful for that. Kelly, this is amazing. And how did you, what is it that really propelled you to get it, to making that connection and working through the psychological part?
Good question.
Well,
would you stop?
I noticed from a very young age that I had a problem with anxiety. When I was about 6 or 7 years old, I noticed that I had it. I didn't realize at the time that it was a problem, that everybody else didn't have the same thing. I thought we all just had it.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
So, and I hid it very well. But I also was,
as kids, we do that so beautifully.
Very, very well. And kids, and kids are wonderful actors. Yeah. And I was also, I was an actor and I was a singer. And so I had already learned ways to, push things like that aside and pretend, really. I mean, at that age, that's what you're doing. Pretend that everything is okay.
Right.
And that's just kind of how it went. And then as I got a little older, people didn't really notice. They always kind of saw that I was, just kind of the happy kid who would go and do the chorus and do the singing and then, and do all the clubs. And they didn't realize that I was hiding it. I didn't really realize it until I was in college. In college for nursing was when the first time I actually really noticed, wait a minute, everybody else who's here with me is not experiencing these things that I'm experiencing.
Right.
I had my first true panic attack in college, and I didn't understand why everybody else was not having those problems. And that was the first time that I really noticed it and realized that there was actually something wrong. But the way that I look at it, for anybody who has any kind of a mental illness, it's not going to be something that anyone else in the world will see. There's no physical manifestation until it's hit a point where you need help. You cannot get yourself back to square one on your own.
Because you're so far in.
Because you're so far in, yes.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of other things, when it's a physical handicap, it could be something very minor and no big deal, and you might not need help at all. It might just be the way that it is. But people don't recognize that when you see somebody who's having something go on and clearly there's a mental aspect to it, they're already well past a point of being able to calm themselves and bring themselves back when they do need help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Kelly. I mean, you're bringing up such an important topic, because I totally relate to what you're saying. I was born with this heightened anxiety that, like, if it were something fun, like, let's say it was a rare treat if my family took me to something like McDonald's. We're very, it was like a treat, or something like that. I would get so much anxiety, even from excitement. I would get sick. And like you were talking, you learn to just deal with it. I mean, that gut, the pit of your gut churning. I can't remember. My earliest memory is from that anxiety of my gut turning. Did that happen to you? Like, did you get like awful pains in your stomach, where you just get so sick to your stomach all the time from the anxiety?
Yeah.
I totally, and I didn't have my first panic attack until my 20s.
Yeah.
It came much later. I just thought, like, because I was working, and I loved stage, plays and things like that. I just got so good at keeping it in. Yeah. And like Rod would go, "Don't you get nervous?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah. One time I almost passed out.
I think I had all the nervousness for her. So
yeah.
No. I mean, but you just learn to cope and deal, and you don't even, like you said, realize it's a problem until it's like, whoa, the physical. You're like, okay, maybe this is a problem, and I don't know what to do anymore. And it's you need some help. I think you brought up such a beautiful point. And I love how you took writing, because I'm not a good journaler either. Like, I'm not. And I know it's something people encourage, and I'm like, it turns into a chore for me.
Yeah.
And it turns into, like, I don't want to even write about this stuff. I would rather just talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more that kind. And the writing, if I'm writing, I don't mind writing about experiences, but I don't want to keep talking about, like, writing about, oh, I'm feeling this way. I'm like, I'm doing that all day in my head. I don't want to.
Exactly.
So for some, it has a very cathartic effect.
Yes.
For others, we have to find different avenues, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Take time for me time, right?
And how long have you been writing and photography now?
I've been writing. I've loved writing since I was in middle school. So back then it was more, because it was class assignments that we had to do. But as I realized that I actually was relatively good at it, I did a little bit more on my own. So I would say probably like the mid-high school range. So it's probably been about 20 years that I've been doing a lot of writing. And I did take a period of time off when I moved out to Seattle. I was doing quite a bit. And then the girl that I was working with out there, we had a little bit of a falling out. She didn't really understand how hard it was for me to have moved across the country and started a new job. And, she wanted me to be just doing what we were doing with our writing stuff. And so I had to kind of end that.
Right. You had a life you had to keep up.
I had a lot of other stuff going on. And while I was in Seattle, that was when I was at my heaviest and was just so unhappy. And that was when I was starting to see the doctors and talk to them and see the psychologists, and started really, taking time for myself and allowing myself, to heal on my own.
Can I ask you a question, Kel? Is that the room that you're in right now? Is that your room that you would typically write in, or do you have a location that you usually write? Or could you start writing?
As far as, like, if I do my writing, it would usually be, so this is my bedroom right now. I would usually do my writing in my bedroom, just because anywhere else I felt like there was just too much,
distraction.
I was just going to mention, keep the painting in the room that you were getting ready to write in, and hopefully it gives you inspiration. If it's in your bedroom, then every time you look at the painting saying I need to take my time and and I need to get back and express myself. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Every time I'm painting, I'm like, okay, I want to put what's on my head on the canvas, and to be honest with you, my mom is the master painter.
Yeah,
I
she's amazing.
just started painting back in December, and I'm not even joking. I
Wow.
just kind of got into it. I said, you know what, I'm gonna paint my mom something for her for Christmas, and then I go, well, now I'm at it. I'm gonna paint Rachael something for Christmas, and between that time, mid-December till now, I think I've done like 10 or 12 different, projects, I guess you can call them.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how much I was needing color and how much that it brought value to myself in a way. To have something that you can express, whatever it is, if it's writing, if it's singing, dancing, artistry, whatever it is.
Do you know that
it's all an artistry, really.
Rod has a photography background.
My biological father's a master photographer.
I mean, it's crazy how well known he is. He's photographed the Olympics, celebrities. I mean, he's just this like amazing, beautiful photographer. And Rod had interned with him, helping him like weddings and things like that back in the day. And I never understood the art of photography until, you really learn about it. You're like, wow, f-stops and all the things involved. It's like, it's magic that happens. You know,
of course, I was shooting more whenever there were 35 millimeters before the digital era, but
Right. Well, that's what most of mine are actually on those. I have very few. None of the pictures in my room right now are digital. They were all from disposable cameras. I've got a couple in my living room that are absolutely. I went on a trip to England with school in my junior year of college, and I have the most gorgeous picture of the Christ Church and War Memorial Gardens, and on a disposable camera, and I've got a couple.
Awesome though. I mean,
amazing! Amazing, yeah.
You gotta, Kelly. You gotta one time take a picture of it and let us see the picture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
Absolutely. I probably could just walk out there. If I could figure out how to get out of all these pillows I've managed to wash myself in the middle of.
I love it. I want your dimples. I want to take your dimples and just like, I want to squeeze you so much. You're so beautiful. What did you think of the painting, by the way, when you got
my gosh, I love it. I absolutely, I told Rod when I was scrolling through, I actually stopped going through because I do have a few different people, friends of mine that I follow who do some art, and every now and then I'll see something and I'll just stop and look at it and say, oh, that's nice. And I was scrolling through and I said, oh my gosh, because it's the colors that I like, but it also reminded me so much of, because we were talking and I said, when I was younger, we would go up to New Hampshire for vacation up into the Lakes region. And a lot of times when us younger kids at the time would kind of like wander a little ways out or go sit out on a dock, and we'd be surrounded by these trees, and the colors of the sky were just outrageous, because there was no other major lights around, so you could see the beautiful light. No, we never really got to see the Aurora, and that's one of my bucket lists. That's one of my big things. Actually, I don't call it a bucket list. I just say that for people who do call it that. I call it my life list because
I love it.
I don't want a bucket. No, I'm not doing any bucket list. I want to do all this stuff while I'm alive and enjoying it. Nothing to the bucket. So
Kelly, we're gonna meet you there.
Yes, exactly.
Because that's on our life list. We're gonna call it life list.
So on my life
Alaskan
list,
cruise or something like that.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Well, my parents were supposed to go on one in a couple of weeks, and they just had to cancel it because of all the coronavirus and all this stuff.
Right.
And,
Do you know today they said we live in a county called Orange County, and they're saying they're going to put us on they're putting us on a shutdown. What did it say? A health alert, because they're putting everybody like an emergency health alert for Orange County, because there's a lot of people who are coming to California with it.
Yes.
Because we have a lot of population from,
Yeah, it's
the
a
other
melting pot in
countries.
California for sure.
Yeah.
So people are traveling internationally, and a lot of it's coming here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate right now. But you know what? In time, everything, they're coming up with a vaccine, and your family will be able to travel again, and
Yep.
we'll be able to be joining you once I'm
Yes.
there.
Yes.
A lot of things
Yeah.
gonna happen once Rachel recovers. So
Yeah,
I'm coming
exactly.
to Massachusetts and hugging those dimples.
Oh my gosh.
Me and those dimples have a date.
Well, I'll tell you, I lived in Seattle for 4.5 years, and it was absolutely beautiful. I mean, really, I've never seen anything so gorgeous in my life, and I wanted so badly to fall in love with it, and I just didn't. I'm such an East Coast girl, and I think that that's just what it was. It was just the East Coast, West Coast is just, there is such a difference.
There is.
There is.
Absolutely.
And Seattle was just a little strange because I think a lot of people who live there are transplants there. There aren't a lot of people that are native to there.
Yeah.
So you had people from all over the country, and if they had been there a year longer than I had been, they were more Seattle than I was, and I just kind of was like, I just wanted to come and enjoy it and work and see this beautiful sky.
It has to be your vibe. Yeah. If it's not your vibe, you're just feeling like you're not at home.
Yeah.
Like I've been born and raised literally in Orange County.
Yes.
And when I go somewhere else, it's not that I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's that it's not the vibe of home. Right. Especially after so many, 40 some years.
I'm going to have to break her eventually of that. We're going to travel eventually.
I know, I love traveling. I would love to travel. If it's not for a hospital, that would be awesome.
Yes,
that's true.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Fun travel.
Rod and I have never, ever, we've been together, what is it, almost 17 years?
Something like that.
17 years. We've never been on a vacation together.
Yeah.
No honeymoon. And we said one day, we don't even want to do anything big. Like, we got to go on a trip that's not a hospital eventually.
Yes.
And what our plan is, we're going to come see you.
You're going to come to Boston?
See our whole family out there.
And I'll see my baby back there. I see the painting once we visit you.
Yes.
It's so weird. I have this like a feeling
affinity
of like, it's like your child or a weird way.
Yes.
It has like an emotional attachment to it.
Yeah.
When you spend your energy and your emotion towards something like that, you're letting it go. But it's found a good home, and I hope you enjoy it.
I love that. That was my favorite. It's so hauntingly beautiful, like with the perspective and everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I was seeing one of the other ones that you've been doing recently. That's a lot. It reminds me kind of like the forest in Harry Potter, where it's very blue, green, and all that. And I'm like, I'm gonna have a really hard time not wanting to get every single one of them.
You're so sweet.
I'm going to be. This has really inspired me to keep on going to paint more and more. And I'll be finishing up that one soon. And I'll have that one also up for auction. So.
Because this guy has been literally working, literally 24/7.
I have some projects I'm working on that nobody knows about. So stay tuned.
But it's wonderful that he finally he takes like a little bit of time every, so often, and just has a little bit of me time instead of like, doing all these medical things all the time. You don't realize how much your soul needs to be nurtured.
The time that you spend, I think a lot of people spend too much me time on themselves, but whenever you're working hard and you're trying to produce it, then you flip the switch and okay, now I can create something.
Right.
It's nourishing in its own way. You know what I mean?
And I'm like a geek, fascinated. I'm a fan. I can't do that stuff, but I'm like watching, like it comes from nothing to something, like writing.
Yeah.
There's a blank page, and it's amazing what you do. It's just a beautiful thing. Thank goodness for me time. And thank God for Kelly, and I want those dimples. I'm not going to stop talking about those dimples. I love them. You are such a sweetheart, and an honor
thank you.
to spend time with you today.
Yeah, you
just
too.
so
I was
cool.
so excited. I was telling everybody, in my family, because they know that I follow this, and
Oh,
they said, "Oh, are you going to be able to talk to Rachael?" I said, "I hope so." I said, "I think so. We're trying to get it booked in there so that she's able to as well." I said, "I want to make sure she's feeling good enough
oh,
that we can do
wow,
that."
Well, thank you.
thoughtful.
Yeah.
God bless you. And tell
Yeah.
your family, send my love to them and give them each a kiss.
Yes.
Give them a good kiss on the
Give
forehead.
me one of these. Give me one of these.
And one of those. Oh yeah, they know that. Actually, my little niece knows that. My little
Aw.
2-year-old niece knows that. So
You know
we
what
just
was
taught her
so
that last
cute?
week.
What it was so cute. A little girl came up to me not too long ago and just went like that. A neighbor of ours. I was like, oh. And when the kids do it, like your niece, it just melts. Oh my
It's
God.
it's so
I
funny.
love it.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it's
especially because
really-
I was showing her to do that too. So
But it's a good universal symbol to know. You
Well, we
know?
won't
Yes.
keep you up too much later since it is 3 hours ahead on your watch. And
Oh
get
yeah. You can see clearly I'm quite tired. I mean
Oh, not at all. Are you kidding?
no, this is my time. I was gonna said I was just gonna walk out here for a minute and
Oh,
see where I had that picture, because I know there it is. I always have it in a very special place in my apartment because of where because I love to look at it myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this was the picture,
Wow.
and you know I'm said I don't know that I'll ever be able to go to Oxford again, but
Look
you know
at
that
that
was
Wow, that's amazing.
architecture.
I like the
it
detail.
just unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's
You know, and not
beautiful.
only that, but there's also the you know, you're never going to have an opportunity to have nobody standing in front of you in that picture either. It was
Right.
just it was so incredible, and so many pictures that I had taken on that particular trip. I had nobody standing in front of me. You know, we got the I don't even remember the name of it anymore. The Harry
That's
Potter
gorgeous.
train, yeah.
Yeah.
That thing, and you know, like
That's
all of those kinds of things. So
gorgeous.
those were the really fun things. That's what I really like to do. You know, I like to do that when I'm out and around, and then when I'm at home, the writing is really much more my style. So I need to get back into doing that now that I'm not working anymore.
And now that you're going to be sending Rachel a couple samples.
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like how I snuck that in there. I
I
didn't
did.
forget that.
I did.
I'll send you my email so you can send it to me directly.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely.
That'd be an honor. I'd love that,
Absolutely.
Kel.
Yeah, I love sharing. You know, I try to share everything that I have because I figure, you know, we all have these experiences in life that we learn from, and if we learn from them, there's got to be other people out there who can as well.
Amen.
And I think that's just so important.
Amen,
You know,
girl.
it's so important.
Amen to that. And
Yeah.
I will, if you ever want to post anything on Me Time Artistry,
Yes.
we'd love to see it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that.
Like your pictures or anything
Yeah.
that you feel you want to share, even
Yeah.
a story, anything you want to share.
Yeah,
would
I
love
can
it
definitely
because
send it
that's
to
what
you
it's
guys.
for.
I like the community aspect of it, to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. And I saw that you were talking today about you know, looking for some help to do some of that stuff, and I just think that's so incredible because you know, the I really feel that it more now than before, but mental health is still just such it needs to have
You're scraping the surface right now. it
yes,
feels like, you know,
exactly.
so layered, you know,
Yeah.
categorized. It's not combed with one brush, you know what I mean?
Right.
And the thing is the biggest point is it's not a choice.
Right.
That's what they
Exactly.
don't understand. A mental disease and mental health, those things we're not making choices all day long to ruin our
Right.
lives. That's not how it works. And that's a big part of it. And God bless you, Kelly. I mean,
Yeah.
thank you so much for honoring us with the privilege of your story
Oh,
and
of course.
getting to know you and creating this beautiful relationship. Now
Yeah.
we have this like brand new like baby connection.
Yes.
Of us that we're gonna
Yes.
keep growing and stay in
Yes.
touch and keep it all going.
Exactly.
I know, like I pretty much know everyone, but to get to know more intimately is my honor.
Yeah.
And we're gonna meet you at the Aurora Borealis.
Yes.
We have a
Yes.
date.
Bring a
Yes.
camera.
And the dimples.
And a
And the
camera.
dimples. You can't leave home without those. We love
Oh,
you
it's
so much.
going down.
An earthquake over there. In
I know. No, that's
Earthquake in
California,
Boston. Yeah, we
man.
have a
That's
lot of
all we
those.
get. We just get the earthquakes.
Shake it up over there.
Earthquakes and fires. That's our deal.
Yes. No, that's my
nothing
big.
else.
That's my big thing. I want to go see it. And so to at least have something here where I can look at it and it's not just something I'm looking at, on a screen is very nice. So
And we're gonna go on that. We do that
Okay.
life list. I'm all over that life list.
Yes.
I love it. So
Yes.
tell your family we love them. Send them our love.
Okay.
God bless you, sweetie, and we'll talk to you even sooner, hopefully.
Okay.
We love you.
Absolutely.
And we'll have, more to come. More to come.
I love you. You're
Absolutely.
cute as pie. I love
Thank
you.
you.
Bless your heart, Kelly.
Thank
Take
you. I'm
care.
so
All right.
happy to have gotten to talk to you guys. Bye.
Our honor. God bless you.
Take care, Kelly.
Love
Great
you.
chat. Bye-bye.
Bye.